Cadillac has been officially granted an entrance into Formula One from 2026 onwards, and that means 2 more drivers are going to compete in the championship sooner rather than later. With so many options on the table, starting with seasoned experienced drivers like Bottas and Perez, all the way to drivers who are yet to compete in an F1 race like Herta, who are the drivers that Cadillac will go with, and more importantly, how far can they get with the duo they'll choose? The entrance of Cadillac and Andretti in Formula One has been officialized, and its news brings smiles to the F1 fans around the world for all the right reasons. Cadillac has vowed to produce engines as early as 2028, and under the reconstruction that happened in Andretti Global, the power force behind this move, it's now more than evident that we will see a very competitive team in the foreseeable future. Before they get there, they will need a combination of drivers who will be ready to extract every single drop of performance from the car that will be powered by Ferrari's engines and gearboxes. And with so many options on the table, who is the most logical choice for Cadillac? The first and most obvious one is Bottas, and it's definitely a driver that the American company will have a talk with in the upcoming period. This is a driver who has been nothing less than phenomenal during his time in Mercedes, even though it's been shadowed by Hamilton's dominance from 2017 to 2021. Throughout these 5 years, Bottas managed to win 10 races and never miss a Q3 appearance, which is quite an astronomical achievement if you think about it. Now that he's proven he's always ready to pick up when the number 1 driver slacks, Bottas might want to start a new adventure in his career, be the number 1 driver in a team, and help them produce a championship mentality further down the line. Of course, many will doubt this ability of Bottas because he hasn't been quite the best facilitator in Sauber. But if we're to look at how the Swiss team handled business, then we can hardly find the fault in the Finn driver. Plus, what's worth noting is that in 2025, he will serve as the reserve driver of Mercedes, and he will still be at the top of his game, driving the cars in the simulator and on the track whenever that would be possible, and keeping up with the dynamics of the sport. This won't happen with Perez, for example, who is another strong candidate for the seat. But on the other hand, the Mexican driver will have an advantage that Bottas can only dream of: popularity in the US. We'll get to that later in this video. Let's delve deeper into one of the biggest obstacles that could prevent Bottas's move to Cadillac first. The Finn has been loud and clear when it comes to his next contractual obligation in Formula One. There's no way that he would accept a contract for 1 year and 1 year only. It may be that he wants to secure himself as a stable piece on the team, and it's also something that suggests he's ready to be a centerpiece in the team that would pick him as the number 1 driver. If he knows that he will be signed on a multiple-year basis, then it's a sign from the team that they're ready to invest in him as well, and not give up once things go downhill for reasons he might not be responsible for, similar to what happened in Sauber. Talking about this to a greater extent, Bottas said, "I feel I need a long-term contract. I need a project with clear goals for the next few years. I'm not interested in a 1-year contract just to be in the sport. I want to have something stable with goals that we can pursue together. Everything is still open. At the moment, no door is closed yet." This is something that would suit Cadillac because they know for a fact that he's ready to commit. It's up to them to decide whether the situation would be worth committing to, knowing that you'll have a highly competitive car from 2028 onwards. But apart from Bottas, who is the other driver who makes the most sense to sign for the American team? You guessed it right, Colton Herta. Ever since the project of Andretti started, it's been centered around an all-American team that would bring the popularity of F1 in the States to a much higher level than what it is right now. Michael Andretti, the former CEO of Andretti Group, had a vision in which he would make an all-American lineup, as Herta was the driver that had the lead compared to any other suitor on the grid. And now that Michael's father has taken over the project, the stance hasn't changed at all. This project is still about Colton, and the American team wants to keep their promise of delivering as many American troops to the team as possible. But the problem might be that Herta will take some time in adjusting to Formula One, and it's not the news that Cadillac wanted to hear right now. Colton is currently competing in the IndyCar 500, and when talking about a potential tenure in Formula One, he's not as confident as he was a couple of years ago, when he almost landed a deal in AlphaTauri back in 2022, but failed to obtain the super license points needed to compete in Formula One. Elaborating on the upcoming project with Cadillac and what it means for his future in F1, Colton said, "If I'd leave IndyCar 500, I'd be leaving a great group of people I really like working with. So it's not a sure thing for me. It's not an easy decision just to be like, alright, see you guys later. I'd be giving up an opportunity of maybe never working with these people again. Furthermore, Herta has been adamant that these questions about his future in Formula 1 have been wearing him down, as he has one goal in front of him right now: to compete where he is and work with the group of people he is surrounded by right now. The fans sometimes fail to understand that Formula 1 is not an easy sport to adjust to, and Colton's statements show exactly that. If you're happy with the current situation, there's no need to change anything in your life. But the goal for Cadillac is still to bring an American driver out there and show that they can compete as well as the European stars can. It's the opportunity that is missing out of the big picture. When talking about the current lineup situation in Cadillac and what the ultimate goal for the team would be, the team principal, Graham Loudon, has gone on to say, "There are some very talented drivers still out there. We hadn't been able to be in the driver market until the entry was confirmed. Now that it has, we can move forward with that. In terms of timing, we're not putting any timeline on driver announcements or anything like that, but for sure, there will be in time. For sure, we're going to hire drivers based on merit, but as such, we see no reason why we won't have American drivers in time. There's nothing preventing a driver being selected on merit and being American. I think that would be something a lot of fans would really want to see as well. At the end of the day, the Cadillac Formula 1 team is based in the US. But with Herta's reluctancy to commit to Formula 1, Cadillac might find it easier to persuade a driver who's very popular in the USA, has a good reputation among the grid, and will look for a solid rebound opportunity after the poor spell in Red Bull. We're talking about Sergio Perez. What goes heavily in his favour is not only the fact that he's absolutely adored among the US fans, but also the massive financial backing that Carlos Slim is bringing along for the team that would be signing the services of Perez. There's no doubt that Perez has some questionable traits, and the fact that he was so far behind Max in Red Bull might be one of the reasons why Cadillac would want to be very cautious when approaching him for the job. However, we saw that Red Bull has declined severely, and the fact Perez wasn't able to adapt to the car as well as Max doesn't mean he's not a good Formula 1 driver. It's just that he was compared to one of the greatest ones to ever do it in the sport. After all, it would be too good of an opportunity for Cadillac to pass down the line, considering how good of a backing they would receive if Sergio came on board. These three are not the only drivers who would make a compelling case to sign if you're Cadillac. Let's not forget that Tsunoda's future is now under a huge question mark, and now after he's received the cold shoulder from Honda, he's been left by himself to prove that he's worthy of an F1 seat. As I mentioned earlier in this video, there's no willpower stronger than the one of a driver who feels like he's being treated poorly in Formula 1 and is not being given credit for the work he's currently doing. And Tsunoda can definitely prove this to Red Bull and Honda by joining Cadillac in 2026. He's also very young, which means he's a long-term solution apart from the team's headaches. So with all of this in mind, which two drivers do you think Cadillac will choose? Let us know in the comments below, and if you want to know more about the latest drama between Russell and Verstappen, make sure to click on the video that's appearing on your screen right now.